Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. How are you all doing this evening? Has the manager recovered from the early bump in his Celtic career? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments. Evening, how are you? Section. And we're also running a poll this evening. Has the Celtic manager recovered from an awful start to his Celtic career? 50% say 40%, it's just changed. There has been a few votes in straight away. 40% say yes, 50% now say yes, and it's just changing all the time. 50% say yes, 62%. Ah, check it out. Yes, no, or it's too early to tell. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section, and if you're live on the video, check out the poll section and you'll see the question live. This will be an interesting one to see if we'll get any no's within the comments section this evening. Anyway, it is the season to be jolly. Let's talk about the game tomorrow. Wilfred Nancy has obviously spoke to the media a couple of days ago. Saw him lose his first 4 games, losing the cup final. You're thinking, that's unbelievable. Just wait, losing the cup final was maybe one of the worst things that he could have done. As I keep that up. Mm-hmm. I've got new lights coming tomorrow. Can't wait because these lights are pain in the ass. I'll just sort this down a bit. So yeah, the lights will be better tomorrow. I can see what he's trying to do, but we need the players who can manage it, says Hugh. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think that's pretty honest opinion. Even in Nord Celts, coming in from Oslo, who has fellow Tims across the world. I think that's pretty much that's a fair comment. We can see what he's trying to do, but we need the players that can do it. Will he get the players in the next transfer window? That's the big question, isn't it? And it's looking like that we may get some players in. It looks like that we are gaining ground on one loan signing. There's quite a lot of media attention around an ex-Barcelona defender that that may come to fruition early on in the window. Early on in the window. Watch Celtic and Motherwell live on Celtic TV tomorrow. Yay. God. That's the joys that we've all got tomorrow. Celtic head to Fir Park tomorrow. The kick-off time is 8 p.m. As they look to take all 3 points for the final game of 2025. 2025. What a year. What a year 2025 has been. We'll talk about that tonight, actually, because tomorrow night, we've got the game night, and then the night after that is Old Year's night, and there's no fucking chance I'm going to be on here at Old Year's night. What a year it's been for Celtic fans. Get as many comments in as we can tonight. Tell me how you feel. 2025 has been as a Celtic fan. Disco lights could be disco lights if you wanted them just a coin. We could get disco lights, but it is going to be a light above each monitor, which will distribute the light more evenly, which should make it a lot more professional. Chilpel is not confident about it tomorrow. We don't have a great record at Fir Park, and Motherwell are shit hot right now. No, they're no. They're not. They're not really. When you look at the results, I mean, Motherwell they've grind out more draws than anything over the draw specialists, really. I mean, I'll get you on it. Let's share the screen. We'll talk about the game tomorrow. When you look at the previous score lines that Motherwell have had, I mean, Rangers beat them 1-0. They won 1-0 against Dundee. Dundee United, 13th of December, 0-0. They beat Livingston 3-0. We beat Livingston 4-2. Not a great result, but then that's what you get. Falkirk Motherwell, 3rd of December, 0-0. Motherwell versus Hearts, 0-0. It's got draw written all over it, isn't it? It's not got a high scoring game. They don't concede many goals. I think going forward, Celtic may meet their match in some prospects. The good thing is that they won't have a certain Celtic potential Celtic player. They won't have him in their defence. I don't know how well Stephen Welsh has been playing for them, to be honest. I've not kept tabs on Stephen Welsh since he'd left Celtic in the summer. And then you need to go back to the 22nd of November, the last time they really got a significant win, which was against Kilmarnock 3-1. Now, you could say that the Motherwell game against Livingston is a significant game. It's the bottom league of the table. We expected to beat Livingston on their ground 3-0. They beat Livingston 3-0. I don't think that's a game that you can call it. I mean, the highlight, Aberdeen, November, 1-1. They got beat by St Mirren in the League Cup, which allowed St Mirren to win the final. They beat Dundee United back in October. We still had Brendan Rodgers manager then, so I don't think that I'm going to get overly concerned about Motherwell being a fantastic team. They're grinding out draws. You know, they're being very difficult to beat. So with Celtic coming a calling tomorrow, will it be the day that Celtic will just go on a goal frenzy? Or will we be sitting going, oh, fucking can't I watch this shite again, man? That's been a long time since we've done that, but tell me what your thoughts are in the comments section. I'm going to change this before I change screen. So the transfer news that we spoke about earlier, there is one piece of transfer news that seems to be gaining momentum, and that is the search for a right back, even be it on a short-term basis, to get in an ex-Barcelona player, a player that cost £9 million. If he's half as good as Sarachi, or even just as good as Sarachi, it could be a good signing for Celtic till the end of the season, just until we get Alistair Johnston back. And what it does do as well, it's quite clever by Celtic if they do this. It makes sure that there's no pressure on Alistair Johnston to come back early, because that's what really happened with Alistair Johnston. He came back too early and he got injured straight away. For the longevity of the player's career and to make sure that he's not another Karen Carter-Vickers that's out at least once a season, I think that Celtic could actually be doing the right thing, which is unusual for Celtic. It's far too early to make a decision on the manager, Baz, says Jim. Interesting. He's recovering. I can see what he's trying to do, and it works. Just need the players in to speed it up for the results. That's an interesting one. He is recovering from the dreadful start, because let's face it, we're all ready with the pitchforks. We're all ready with the pitchforks and the sledgehammers and whatever else that people use in this day and age to chase a manager from the depths of Celtic Park. And it's interesting because I'm working on a project just now which is looking at the history of Celtic managers, and when you see what Wilfred Nancy has done over his short period, it's nothing compared to what some managers. Mark has been a member of the One Celtic Fans View community for 6 months. Up the tick, got to get a win tomorrow. Going into the zombie game. I think the zombie game will take care of itself, mate. I really do. And thank you for being a member for so long. See, I need to keep an eye on that tab because it doesn't flag up that he was a member for 6 months in this one. Interesting. But anyway, let's move forward to that and get back into some of the comments. I think given time, he can improve the team. there does seem to be a change in. Peter says, "Hi Baz, still don't trust the manager. Uh, I know it's still a good to all mankind, but no, mate. Shaking Stevens says, Merry Christmas, fuck the Hunts. I'm nervous about tomorrow, says Chill Pill. Feeling more confident for tomorrow night, to be honest, said Nord Celtic. I'm not feeling. Thomas has come in talking about 2025. Give me your thoughts on 2025 as well on the chat. An effing roller coaster of a year. It has been, isn't it? From the heights of the Champions League to losing. I can't say it out loud. To losing 2 cup finals. I said it in a calendar year. Shite, innit? This is what it's like to be Rangers. Losing fucking games. Oh, Jesus. It has been a roller coaster of a year. Davey, are you confident about tomorrow? I'm still nervous, but at the same time, it's odd. Interesting. Just be glad to see the back of 2025. What will 2026 bring then? Because there's still a lot of ongoing issues with the Celtic fan base, just to say the least. But anyway, Nancy still has a lot to prove. The defending has been ridiculous. Well, if we get a £9 million defender in, could that be, even it is on loan to the end of the season? Money doesn't buy you success. I know money doesn't buy us success. We spent £7 million on Lagervelke and Norocki, and they were shite. Or weren't fancied by the manager. They weren't necessarily shite. They just weren't given the chance that I think they deserved. But you want to prove how you're wrong? The next round of UEFA does that. I don't think so. I think it's too early. I think that the UEFA games, and especially the next one's Bologna, isn't it? That's fucking no chance. Not a chance are we doing anything. When you look at the matches that we have, there's not a chance. Mate, I've said on this channel, we're going to get tanked. The Bologna game, forget about that in January, because we're going to get humped. And see if we go into the Bologna game thinking the worst. Sometimes things can happen, and we might get a draw out of it. A draw would be a great result. Absolutely fantastic result if we get a draw in Italy against Bologna. It will be a fantastic game. It will be a fantastic result. Other than that, we are going to get absolutely pummeled. We would have got pummeled under Martin O'Neill. We would have got pummeled under Brendan Rodgers. I think that they're that good a team. But it is all about opinions. We are not the team that we were at the start of 2025. Going into 2026, there is no way the manager can bring in 4 or 5 players to gel them into a team to get a result against Bologna in Europe. If he does, there will be people saying, mate, go and just let my wife do you, to the manager. 2025 has been turbulent, just to say the least. Not all the injuries, the jury's still out on Nancy. 2 wing backs and number 9 and upwards. Interesting. Nervous about tomorrow and Sunday. I'm not really nervous about tomorrow and Sunday. I think Sunday at Celtic Park will win. We'll win all day. It's Celtic Park, man. Come on, they're woeful. Motherwell's the big game. Do you know? And Motherwell's the draw specialist. I'm talking about winning games here. I'm talking about the confidence of winning. I don't think that we'll lose against Motherwell, but I'm not confident that we can. If Wilfred Dancy wins at Motherwell and wins convincingly, fair play to him. Fair play to him. He will have done something that I think a lot of us were dreading just a few months ago at this time of year, the way that our form was. Get to the weekend at Celtic Park, 2,500 of that mob. We're in our own stadium. We know we can do it at home. They're shy at travelling. And it's all going to come down to what VAR does. I remember how good Motherwell have been. Could be a long night. Motherwell play great football. The results don't lie, mate. I'm not making it up. You've got to look at results. They might play good football, but that's the Celtics. That's the Celtics. Celtic ones. I need to go back to Motherwell. There's the Motherwell one there on that screen. They might play great football. Falkirk, 0-0. Dundee United, 0-0. Playing football to me is scoring 4 goals in a game. They're not doing that. 3-0 against Livingston. We scored 4 against Livingston. Downside, they're not scoring many goals. I mean, Rangers beat them 1-0. You've got to go back. Do you know, they might be playing well. They beat Aberdeen. Listen, in September, let's put it into perspective. September, Aberdeen were bottom of the table. Aberdeen were getting tanked by everybody. Do you know, they beat Aberdeen 2 weeks in a row. Beat them in the quarter-final with the cup. 1-0 at Aberdeen. And then the next week, they beat them 2-0. Dundee had a player sent off, 1-1. Kilmarnock. I don't see, the numbers don't lie. You've got to look at it. People look at the stats in this day and age. You know, I don't see where they're hard to beat. Motherwell. We'll agree with that. But other than that, it's a team that should be there for the taking. Hearts 3-3 in August. Scottish League Cup. They beat St Johnstone 1-0. St Johnstone. Do you know what I mean? You've got to, that's the way back in August. They might be having a good season, but draws, consistently drawn and picking up the odd 3 points here and there, that's not putting the fear into me. It's not putting the fear into me one bit. And I think when Celtic come calling tomorrow, and then they've got St Mirren on the 3rd of January, St Mirren will be thinking it's time for revenge. Do you know? I mean, St Mirren beat them 4-1 in the cup semi. St Mirren will be thinking, can we do them again? I don't know. We'll wait and see. But I'm not overly... If we've got people scoring goals, and I know what people are thinking, we've not got a striker that's scoring, we've not got this and we've not got that, but the goals are coming from other places in the team. And I think that the manager should ultimately be going into this game with, it's a 3-pointer. We have to win. 3 points is a must because it gets us level with Hearts. This is the game that gets us back level. This is the game that gets us in the title fight. The manager said, look, I don't talk about positions in the league. The players do that. I don't need to talk to them about it. Do you know, I hear them on the training pitch, how close they are to Hearts. Win this game. We get back and, you know, we're joint top with Hearts. We score 5 goals, we go top of the league. That's the player's mindset, and he likes that. He likes the fact that he doesn't need to use that as motivation. The players are using that as motivation themselves. And that's all you want as manager. So when you come in and you're walking into training and you're listening to them in training, you're listening to see what they're talking about, and you're like, right, they've got it. So then he comes in and he starts saying, right, you do this in the game, we do this in the game. He's coming in to make the players better. It's been a long time. It's been a long, long time since we've had a manager that has publicly come out and said, Brendan Rodgers said it. He said, my job's here is to make the players better. It's okay talking about it, but to hear him talking about it consistently, and that's what Wilfred Nancy's doing in his press conferences. He's saying that, you know, and I think it was great him turning around and saying, I don't need to talk about going level with Hearts. Players are doing that. I hear them talking about it. I want to show them and ask them questions to bring out the inner greatness that's in them as players. Get them taking the risks. Get them aiming for the rewards of winning games by high number of goals. Come on, brother Wilfred. Hissing nuts. Anyway, Motherwell played great football according to Chilpo. And super chat from Celtic girl Jota. Hail all. And then she said that she's had a bad 6 months with her gallbladder removal, kidney infection, but she's better at last. Off for 6 weeks, back next Monday. I could all and I mean this. I know what you're going through, because mother half was rushed into hospital and had a gallbladder removed and was in intensive care for 10 days, but a year and a half ago. So I know what you're going through. You must be having a hell of a time. She had other complications, but you're lucky that you're and the kidney infection. Wow. I never knew that. Thank you for all the super chats in the channel. Honestly, because I do know what you're going through. Heavy duty. Hopefully, you will get better, because I've seen my other half get better, and stick in there. Stick in there. Oof. All good, Jim. Cleaning good Billy House is Dave. Put away our chances that we create, we will win. Well, deny the Stonewall penalty at the weekend. Then again, they would have been draw specialists or draw at Ibrox. Motherwell ravaged by injuries like us. Baz, we've lost 15 games in this calendar year. The Huns slagger disco lights, yet they can't even afford candle lights. They use imitation Santa Claus ones, says Peter. Welsh has been classed for Motherwell. Well, he won't be playing tomorrow night if he's been classed for Motherwell. And it was in the video I did earlier that Celtic are open to a little fee to take Stephen Welsh, whether it be Motherwell or he could stay at Motherwell to the end of the season. But I think if Motherwell had any aspirations to take the player, they would pay Celtic 500 grand or whatever it's going to take. Maybe £1 million. £1 million and a 50% sell-on fee. If that's what it takes to get Stephen Welsh, would Motherwell do it? It's probably one of the most expensive players that they've ever bought. But with the noises that was coming out of Sky News today, it could be something like 700 grand. Would that be good money for Stephen Welsh? Of course it was. He came through the academy. It gets them off the books. It allows us to go out and bring in another Scottish player. Who would that be, I wonder? We've had more lows than highs this season. Really hope that we're turning a corner and get a good run. But we need, in bad need of a right back, right wing back. Well, he might be coming in. Welsh is playing well because he's getting a run of games. Well, that's going to come to an end tomorrow. Welsh has been decent for them. They've had loads of bad refereeing and VAR decisions go against them. If we win tomorrow and Saturday, do we go on to win the league? Says Lauren. Far too early to tell, but yes. I'm that confident. Yes, we do. If we win tomorrow and if we win Saturday, we're going to win the league. I'll say that now. I'm confident. I'm confident in that. I would even say that if we were to draw tomorrow night and win against the Rangers, we could still go on and win the league. I don't think that the other two teams, Hearts and the team that we're playing on Saturday, have the financial power that we will have in this window. I think that I really think it's maybe hoping, but I really think that you will see a different animal in Celtic come the end of the window. I think that there's a lot of Celtic fans going to be sitting coming the end of the transfer window going, listen, I honestly believe you've got a lot of Celtic fans that want us to fail this window like we did the last one. I think it plays into their narrative, and I honestly do. I think there are Celtic fans out there that hope that the board do not spend any money and do nothing in the next transfer window. Sell Dies Maida to infuriate the fans. But I seriously think that the board will bend over backwards for Wilfred Nancy. They bent over backwards for Ange Postecoglou when he came into the club. They bent over backwards, whether you believe Brendan Rodgers or not, but they brought in 7 players in Brendan Rodgers for summer. All I'm saying is it wouldn't surprise me if Celtic bent over backwards for the manager in this window to prove a point. And people will say, it's goal, it's point scoring, it's just, it's getting one over. It's not. It's doing what they seem is right, and they need to back the manager. They know the squad's not good enough, so they have to back him. No matter the team, it's still 11 versus 11. We should be winning these games. Yep, should that. Could be 3-2 either way tomorrow, or even 2-2 or 3-3. Nah, Motherwell's not got 3 goals in them. Maybe against Celtic, because Livingston didn't have goals in them, and they managed to score 2 in the first 10 minutes. Hope Celtic girls reading all the comments. She's getting a little love in the comments. Doesn't feel back. I think we can win, but it'll be tough. Over 3.5 goals a game tomorrow. Has to be printing money. Oh. Nah, I don't think there's going to be more than that. I think it's going to be a 1-0. I don't think we'll score the 5 we need. We need 5 to go top of the table, and I don't think that we'll score the 5. I can't see it. Celtic need to be on fire for us to score. I mean, it's not within the realms of reality for Celtic to go and score 5 goals away to Motherwell, but it's always a hard place. I mean, I've been in so many games at Motherwell over the years. It's a fantastic place for an away game. You park up in the industrial estate, you walk down to the ground, and then you've got that frigging police cordon, and you've got the nonsense to get into the ground. But it's a good away day. It's a good away game. It used to be a cracking one. There used to be a cracking couple of pubs that we used to go to in Motherwell years ago, and then there's the one just outside Motherwell that we used to go to as well. Only difference is Ange has lost. He lost nothing games at the start of his campaign. That's where Wilfred was important ones. Yes, and he was on a win. He was on a. If he had won the game, if he had won the cup final, would there be a love fest for the manager? Say we won the cup final 1-0. We didn't. We fucking got cupped. But say we won it 1-0. Would there have been a love fest for the manager? I don't think that there would have. I think there was so much negativity about why did we leave Martin? Why did we allow Martin O'Neill to leave? Why didn't we keep Martin O'Neill till that? There was so much negativity about the manager coming in that Do you know? I've spoken about this before. I'm a believer of you put out there what you get back. And when you've got thousands of Celtic fans having negativity about a manager and we're going to lose the game, you put that out there to the ethos, and there's a thing called cosmic order, and you get what you want. And Celtic fans put it out there that they weren't confident. And when you've got that much going out there, that's what you get back. It's been proved. Watch Josh start against Hearts. He's strong, he's fast. Some engine on him could cost us. I think Hibs will sell. Don't think Hibs will sell. I don't think that they will because he's contracted until 2029. Kieran says 6.5 million was the answer. We paid. Here's the question. Here's the question to that, Kieran. Does he have the potential of Scott Brown? Seriously, does he have the potential to become the next Scott Brown for Celtic? We bought Scott Brown for 4 million, and that was a lot of years ago. Add on inflation, 6.5 million for a player that's contracted until 2029. If Celtic will never spend 6.5 million on a Scottish player, maybe they would. Maybe they would go, do you know what? Maybe they would ask Scott Brown about him. I don't know. Do you know, they'd maybe ask a few people that have been in the game. They maybe look at it and go, well, listen, we paid 4 million for Scott Brown and look what Scott Brown did for Celtic. Do we have the type of manager that can turn them into a Scott Brown type player in the middle of the park? Do the club believe in the manager enough to go out and spend £6 million on a Scottish player? And do they think that they can regress him as a manager? I think that we need to look at Alistair Johnston, and I think that the people at Celtic will have done that. They'll have looked at, well, where was Alistair Johnston before Wilfred Nancy came into Montreal? And how much did Wilfred Nancy improve Alistair Johnston when he came into Montreal? And I think that the answer would then lie somewhere in between. Whether it's worth 6 million in this day and age is nothing for a player. Absolutely nothing. Do you know? It's peanuts. When you look at the Scottish players that have went over to Italy and that have been fantastic in Italy, if we've got a chance to go nip one of them now, if we've got a chance to go and get a potential midfield general in the making, do you know, at 23-year-old, it is still potential. Scott Brown was 23. Scott Brown was raw when he came to Celtic. He was a nutter. He would run from one box to the other, and he wasn't the player that he became. He became that player at Celtic, and that's what we need to think about. We put far too much emphasis in this day and age on the price tag and not the end product. Scott Brown was nothing at Celtic for a good year and a half, 2 years. Do you know, he was not the midfield general that he turned into. Just saying. It is an interesting one. I wonder what the answer would have been. Manager has to win the next 2 games. It's not even up for debate. And there's Mark. Certain is 6 months of membership. Will Alistair Johnston ever be the same again? Yeah, I think he will. I think he will. Nancy can't be judged until mid-February after his first transfer window. Is February too quick to then judge him, Scott? I'm being honest. There's too many players that can. I'm going to remind you of a conversation that Ange Postecoglou had about players, and he said that the reason that he liked to get players in the Christmas window, the January window, he said because you've got to give them 6 months. Can we allow players to come in? I mean, we know that we're bringing in players just now to help us win the league, but ultimately, you would be bringing in players in the January transfer window, especially from abroad and different leagues, to give them that settlement period. Ange Postecoglou used to say, there's no use bringing someone in at the end of the transfer window on deadline day. You have to bring them in at the beginning of the transfer window, because when they first come in, they're staying in a hotel. It's not ideal. They're staying in a hotel, they're getting picked up by a car, they're getting driven to the training ground. They're not settled. Their head's not in the right place. They don't, they're living at a hotel. You feel as if you're in holiday mode. Everything's not real, but you're working. And Ange Postecoglou used to say, you have to get them out of that environment as quick as possible. You can't go and rent an apartment, rent a house within a week and move in. Furnish the house. You're then having to move into a furnished house. It doesn't feel like yours. It doesn't feel like home. You still feel as if you're living in a hotel, but you're living in you're living in a house in a country that you don't know, in a street that you don't know, in a place that you don't know, with no family. And as a young person in their early 20s, Jesus, your mates at that age, I remember what I was doing in my early 20s. I was fucking living it up in Ibiza. Responsibility gone. But we expect, as fans, these young men to come in and be of a stable mind, to do their job right from the start and be a success. And if you don't, we're going to shout abuse at you and fucking call you all sorts of names online. It's a crazy world we live in, isn't it? But as I'm nearly 70, and I can say this has been a year to forget. I hope you mean that on football terms. If we build a low ball for Hibs with a 2 mil offer, it'll go nowhere as usual. Yeah, this is very, very true. We need a bit of height in our team. We all agree on that. He's won one game. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's won 2 games. Engels cost 11 million. Heart of a Gee. Silly season. Rudolph up front. Green boots. Come on, you boys in green. Support the team. Tomorrow night, I can see us scoring 5 goals. We are due a big result. Would this be the irony of if tomorrow night was the game that it clicked and we gave somebody the tanking, as they like to say in supporters' bus terms, if we completely humped the well, destroyed them, scored the 5 goals, went top of the league, and everybody's looking around going, right, okay, just fucking drink my beer and shut up. Pay big money for foreign players, but don't play it for young Scottish players. Exactly. And we allow the young Scottish players to then bugger off. Let's forget 2025. Yeah. It's been a big year for me as well. Massive year. Personal, I mean. And personal, it's been a crazy year. Crazy year. Fantastic year. We need CV back, more strength in the defence. We have to win no matter what. I would sign Leighton Clarkson. This season is going to be going on for about 5 years if we win the league. We should have trauma counsellors on hand at the Trongate title. I'm gonna keep... You alright, son? Oh, that's that's the best one. But like, what's that? 5.5 million. Waste of space. 6.5 million for Mulligan. What makes more sense? What guarantee is there that he's going to come in and do it for Celtic? It's been self-inflicted. It's been like elf on a shelf stuff, isn't it? It's like we'll just put them in this position and let everybody think that we're doing well. And that's what the board have done. It's like the board have been playing a big game of elf on a shelf that didn't work, kind of backfired, and everybody's seen right through it. But less of that. We move on. If we don't win tomorrow or Saturday, he's got to go. Of course, he's got to go. There's no disputing that. That's not the question. The question is what is the fucking question? Has the Celtic manager recovered from an awful start to his Celtic career? 50% say it's too early to tell. 21% say no. 29% say yes. He has recovered. I wonder if we do this question again um, after the Rangers game and then after the end of the transfer window. I wonder what will be the changes in those numbers. Sevgo Slayers, 3rd of January, I think so. All that can be said for this year has been nothing but a decline from last year, from even the end of last season. Was showing it was all going downhill. Yeah, it was. There was no surprise going into the start of this season. Our team is not as bad as what we think. All our team needs is a bit of physicality. We've been saying that for years. 2026 for me is going to be all about going on at least 4 holidays and head to America for the World Cup. And there you go, Ian. That's good. No, seriously, that is. How much is the World Cup costing you? Because I looked at prices with my brothers and then we went, fuck that fish. I'm not paying $8,000 to go to America to watch fucking Scotland get humped. Not a chance. You can get a round the world ticket for that. Honestly, tomorrow's another basketball type of game, end to end. It's been a pathetic year for Celtic. Judas Rogers left us in the shout. Bologna will hump us. Yes, I definitely agree with that. Watching Die Hard with the missus and then watching this on Jesus. We don't seem to be able to play for 90 minutes these days. I think that we're improving. Helen, I think that we are improving. I think that the physicality of the team is improving. I think that we are playing a faster physical game than we've played in a long time. We don't have the depth of the squad that's required. If you listen to what Wilfred Nancy said in his interview, he said that he doesn't make right now. He's making changes to just relieve the players. He wants substitutions to be the answer to difficult situations. He doesn't want players that are sitting on the bench to be just players to come in and he wants them to be a solution. He wants them to be that good where if things are going tough for the team, you've got players on the bench that you know can come on and turn a game. And I think that that's an ideology that we've not had at Celtic, definitely under Brendan Rodgers. We did have it before, you could say, his first time because you had a strong bench. You had a bench where you thought, you looked at the bench and you went, fucking hell, that's a team of winners sitting on the bench. We've not had that for a long time. And it's good to hear the manager talk about the fact that he wants the bench to be like that again. Although he said it in his English way of saying it. He wants the bench to be the answer to difficult problems if the team face problems on the pitch. He's won one game against Aberdeen. Your chat would be to get him out if he didn't win. Yeah, of course I said that. I'm asking a question. It's a poll question. Has the manager recovered from an awful start to his Celtic career? I'm not saying he has. I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm saying just asking the question. Don't know why you're getting your knickers in a twist. Jury's out on Nancy. He drops points tomorrow, and folk will be calling for his head. Of course they will. You've got to. All I'm doing here is engaging the conversation. I'm not saying I think that his career, he's turned the corner in his career. I think that he's getting there. I think that he is proving that once the players adapt to the change. I think if we had brought him in at the start of the season, if we'd got rid of Rodgers at the end of last season, Brendan, you lost the cup. Fuck it, you're sacked. Fuck, we're not giving you the third year. Fuck it, you've not won a treble. You were brought back to win trebles and do better in Europe. You've failed on both. We should have sacked Rodgers then and got Wilfred Nancy in the summer. If you get him in first day of the summer, give him the full pre-season, we're not in the predicament that we're in now. Wilfred Nancy will not have been in the predicament that he came in to Celtic. You can't change things and expect instant results. Yes, if you've got a good team of players and if you've got a good squad. We don't have either right now. We've got a good team of players that are not confident, and we do not have a good squad. And that there lies the issue. And if he does drop points, we'll all be calling for his head. I'm still not convinced the way the team better with the system they have to play. I think they are struggling with it. Europe's a nuisance now. Fuck it. It is this season. It is. Before Wilfred Nancy, for anyone that says I'm going to judge him on Europe, the same people were more than likely saying under Brendan Rodgers, let's just forget about Europe this year. But all of a sudden, it's the thing. And the manager's under pressure. If he does shite in Europe, sack him. Hod the bus. Hod the bus. Do you know, you go back to the charts, and everyone was saying, just forget about Europe this season. Forget about it. Focus on the league and win the league. Balak Wisha. He does that. Will we make it through to the Europa League next stage? We will make it through to the Europa League. Do you think so? Usually come out good from Motherwell games. Yeah, we do. Michelle will be working tonight. She usually works. Going from the comments this morning, she said that she's working, I'm sure. We need a right big push of Europe, focus on the league. I'm not even thinking about any Europa League games. They're gone. We need to concentrate on domestic forum. Yeah, we do that. We will never get a draw. We can't defend. That means we'll win then. We would beat that team. We would beat them last season. Would we beat them last season? So, how good or bad even messing around with loan players? I think that it's prudent of the club to bring in a loan player, especially when Alistair Johnston's out injured long term. I don't think that we necessarily need to spend 5, 6, 7, £8 million on a player when you've got Alistair Johnston at the club. You've got Colby Donovan, who's coming through the system. He just needs a little bit of pressure taken off him to prove that he can progress as a player. We put far too much pressure on the younger players. We should be. What happened to bleeding the young players into the team? Johnny Kenny's in that bracket. You know, bleed him into the team at 22-year-old. You know, you're not a number one striker at Celtic at 22. You never have been. There's never been a first team striker at 22 that's been the number one striker. Johnny Kenny is a third choice striker at best at Celtic, but we're putting that pressure on him. I think that bringing in players, transfers in this window is pretty much what we need, I think, for that position only. But there we go. Right, I'm going to jump through this. Celtic will win both games. Baz will do the next two games. We lose the next two games, Nancy's gone. Of course he is. Right, I'm going to jump through the comments. There's fucking hunters. I'm about 300 comments behind, so apologies. We sold the first choice strikers though. Yeah, we did, but we didn't replace them. Do you really think that it was? I mean, are we really saying that the intention all along was to sell Kyogo Furiashi and not bring in someone to then go and sell Adamida to have Johnny Kenny as number one striker? That's absolute bonkers. St. Mirren was the catalyst for his managerial start. Yeah, it was that. Nancy won't change anything tomorrow. No loan player. We have Poozy getting more money than Scott Bain, probably. I don't think he had, because he came from the academy. He wasn't a first team player at Man City. He came from the academy. But anyway, who cares about him? Because he's not the answer. And plus, he doesn't play in the wing back area, and that's the reason that we're allegedly going for a player in the wing back. AJ, some ice hockey player off injured first chance. Joseph, get a grip. Some ice hockey player off injured at first chance. Ralston got booted all over the pitch every game. Are you drunk, mate? Seriously? Ha ha! Honest to God. I think you're bonkers tonight, mate. I really do. Brendan probably sanctioned either because he thought he was going to get the fella that went to Ajax, but the deal was a done deal. Yeah. The window was fucking shocking, wasn't it? Anyway, Celtic Motherwell tomorrow. Give me your score predictions. Should we do any score predictions, or are we just hoping that we win? I think we just hope that we win, don't we? So how long have we been on tonight? That's more than enough. We've been on for 52 minutes. Jesus Christ. Right, let's finish off. Academy players at Man City get 25 grand. I know it's mad. Jeez, I don't believe that for a minute. Right, I asked the question at the beginning of the video. Has the Celtic manager recovered from an awful start to his Celtic career? And there's been 253 votes with over 1,000 people on the live this evening. The poll has finished. And too early to tell. 52% yes, 27%, 21% say no. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans. Evening, wherever you are, all around the world.